Hi, I'm Derek Gilbert. Welcome to a special 5 in 10 inside look at the forthcoming docuseries from Defender Investigative Films, Rescue Us. We have programs about this docuseries coming up on the main Skywatch TV broadcast program beginning November 17th and running through December 8th. But over the next couple of weeks, we're going to give you, the 5 in 10 audience, exclusive looks, never before seen clips from this forthcoming docuseries that really gets to the heart of what we do at Skywatch TV. This series, Rescue Us, exposes the multifaceted industry that is systematically destroying the innocence of our children. From children lost in the foster care system with no chain of custody to the rampant efforts we've seen in recent years to normalize darkness in the classroom. This series gets to the heart of what we do at Skywatch TV, and it's already being called by child advocacy experts a must-watch. So now, a 5 in 10 exclusive preview of Rescue Us.
Hi, my name's Wayne Tesh, and I'm a co-founder of Royal Family Kids, a camp designed specifically for children in the foster care system. Children who have been thrown up against walls and locked in closets. Children who hide under their beds in fear and whose nightmares are real. Children who have been beaten with 2x4s, whipped with bicycle chains, and burned with cigarette butts. The statistics of foster care is overwhelming.
What if I told you that as we're sitting here right now, that more than 420,000 small children and young people are already in the foster care system? Would you be shocked to learn that 90% of these children are statistically guaranteed to experience severe trauma in every possible way that you can imagine during their time in the system? What if you learned that only 50% of these precious souls will ever reunite with their biological families or see loved ones or even familiar faces ever again? Given such traumatic circumstances, such a sense of abandonment and worldview-shattering hopelessness, would it then actually surprise you to learn that children living in foster care are 4 to 5 times more likely to commit suicide than those who are not? And so far, we're only talking about those children who are still actively living in the system. As for the more than 23,000 young adults who age out of the program every year, over 80% of these young men will become incarcerated. And over 70% of the young women will be pregnant before the age of 21. With children who are statistically destined for placement in the foster care system themselves. Almost half of these casualties of a failed culture will be homeless within less than 2 years, and over 95% of them now living outside of foster care with no proper preparations or coping skills for the outside world will immediately fall into systemic poverty. So how do so many young people end up in this situation in the first place? Well, tons of reasons. Parental abandonment, death, incarceration, some are even runaways, but overwhelmingly, children who are placed into foster care are the victims of either severe abuse and/or neglect perpetrated by their parents or guardians. Now, how can this be happening in America, you might ask, when so many people here seem to be generally good-hearted, even charitable? I mean, isn't someone out there with the means to do something about this, aware of this crisis, and equipped to confront it head-on? Maybe some benevolent agency within the government that can help. Well, while foster care system exists to help answer some of these questions and more, unfortunately, it is a system that in and of itself is completely overburdened. and has far too many blind spots. Many law enforcement agencies and social workers don't have the resources at all to take on the overwhelming challenge of coordinating adequate or even timely investigations into the deaths or disappearances of children missing from child welfare agencies. And further, caseworkers don't always file missing persons reports when a foster child disappears. Privacy laws keep details of children's deaths or whereabouts a secret, and computer and medical problems can thwart police and medical examiners who are working on missing child cases. Now you add to that, federal accounting kept on children who die while missing in state custody is scarce to non-existent, and you end up with just a small snapshot of how so many of these young victims are abused in every way imaginable, why they disappear, and are often never heard from again.
Each child in foster care has probably had at least 6 placements. And by a placement, I mean they went from foster home to foster home to foster home. 6 different placements. Let me give an illustration of what that's like. My daughter wanted to grow a garden. She was like 6 years old. And in our backyard in California, we planted corn and carrots and cucumbers and tomatoes, and she was looking forward to it. And I'll never forget her sitting around the table, and she said, "Dad, the carrots aren't growing." And I said, "What do you mean the carrots aren't growing?" She said, "Every time I come home from school, I go to the backyard and I pull up the carrot to see if it's grown, and it hasn't, so I stick it back into the ground again." We know what that means. That means death for the carrot. But when you have kids who move from home to home, being pulled up, placed in another home, pulled out of that one and placed in another, the average is 6 homes. And it's difficult for children to have a normal upbringing when they're moving from place to place, and every place they go into, there's different rules.
It was a story that horrified the nation, the 13 Turpin children suffering years of abuse at the hands of their own parents. Their parents pleaded guilty to torture, child abuse, and false imprisonment, sentenced to life in prison. 6 of those children alleging they suffered physical and emotional abuse, with 5 of them alleging sexual abuse in the foster home they were placed in after their rescue. The lawsuits, which uses pseudonyms, allege the foster parents, Mr. and Mrs. O, had a prior history of abusing and neglecting children placed in their care. The suit says the children were, among other things, sexually abused, hit with a belt, endured threats that they would be returned to their biological parents, told they were worthless and should commit suicide, and even forced to eat their own vomit.
One of the shocking things that has gripped me is sex trafficking. And when I realized, according to an FBI report, that over 50% of the children caught in sex trafficking come from foster care, that was a startling statistic that gripped my heart. Nobody knows about these kids. They've been moved from place to place to place, and then just disappear in the sex trade industry. And nobody knows who they are.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we need the grassroots support of our Skywatch TV family to help us get the Rescue Us series out to as many people as we possibly can. This information is being suppressed, deleted, deplatformed, taken down, and is way too sobering for most network television outlets. We need you to get involved. We need you to join us in the efforts to get this series in front of your friends, your pastors, people of influence in government, your communities, anybody and everybody, help us share this series not only to illuminate the many, many ways that we're losing an entire generation of children to intolerable darkness, but also to assist in the raising of an army of God's people willing to stand in the gap for them. The Rescue Us series shows the viewer what can be done by absolutely anybody willing to say, "Yes, Lord, I will answer the call. I will intervene for those who have no voice and for those who desperately need help." And that's why right now we're asking you to stand with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we're proud to introduce the Rescue Us special offer. For your donation of only $49.99, you'll not only receive a copy of the entire 6-DVD docuseries Rescue Us that uncovers the massive crisis destroying an entire generation of youth, all while challenging each one of us to rise up for our nation's most vulnerable and break the cycle of abuse. But you'll also receive the brand new documentary, Rescued, Samantha's Story, where Samantha Orr personally takes you through her nightmarish childhood of unthinkable trauma and abuse to her total restoration in the arms of Jesus Christ. But friends, that's not all. Right now, while supplies last, we're also including in this special opportunity the 4-hour audio series on disc, The Hidden Occultism of Epstein's Orgy Island by the late Dr. Thomas Horn, Silent Cry, The Darker Side of Trafficking featuring Yaku Booyans, Ilanka Deaton, Dr. Thomas Horn, and others, and the major motion picture movie Camp on DVD that showcases what God can do in the life of a child desperate in need of rescuing through ministries like Royal Family Kids and is inspired by true events. Sold separately, these items hold a retail value of $200. Yours now for your donation of only $49.99, which includes free shipping to all U.S. orders. But ladies and gentlemen, we are so committed to this message reaching as many viewers as is humanly possible that we want to equip you, our grassroots army of Skywatch TV friends and family members, with an opportunity to partner with us like never before. Join us in spreading this invaluable message through the Rescue Us Partner Pack, where you'll receive 5 copies of each of the items we just mentioned for your donation of only $165. That's right, when you order the special Rescue Us Partner Pack, you'll receive 5 copies of the entire 6-DVD docuseries Rescue Us, 5 copies of Rescued, Samantha's Story, 5 copies of The Hidden Occultism of Epstein's Orgy Island, 5 copies of Silent Cry, The Darker Side of Trafficking, and 5 copies of the major motion picture movie Camp on DVD. This massive collection of documentaries, audio series, and movies holds a retail value of $1,000. Yours now for your donation of only $165. With 5 complete copies of everything in the collection, that allows you to keep 1 for you and your family and 4 entire sets to share with people that you believe will also be inspired to stand up in defense of God's greatest gift to us, our children. Remember, your donation helps Skywatch TV continue to get this important message to the 4 corners of the world. You can also stream the entire Rescue Us series and or Samantha's Story right now at skywatchtvstore.com/stream. So act quickly. You can scan the QR code on your screen using the camera app on your phone for instant access to this special opportunity. Visit us at skywatchtvstore.com or call 1-844-750-4985 and ask for the Rescue Us special offer or the Rescue Us Partner Pack right now.